Hi, Bill Parliament from RadicalMarketingSolutions.com, and this is video 7 of the Beginner's Guide to Small Business Internet Marketing, how to take your offline business online. And today we're going to talk about tracking and measuring. One of the most important things you can do online is track and measure the success of your online marketing campaigns, to be able to identify the things that are working and the things that are not, and then fix the things that are not working. So let's get into today's lesson. So the first thing I want to talk to you about is using Google Analytics. Google Analytics is a free web-based website tracking tool where you can track all kinds of different statistics and results. To get Google Analytics, just do a Google search for Google Analytics. It's generally the first thing that pops up in the search engine results pages. You'll need to register with Google Analytics. You'll need to put your email address in. You'll need to register your website. But it's a very easy, streamlined process. They walk you through it. And then at the end of it, they will give you a code. It's typically a UA code, or they'll give you a snippet of code depending on what type of website you're running. Now, in the second video, we talked about creating your website using WordPress. If you're using WordPress, there are a ton of fantastic WordPress plugins you can use to install Google Analytics into your website, and all you'll need to do is copy and paste that UA code in a little box, click Save, and you're off and running. Now, if you're not using WordPress, you'll need to access the code of your website, and you can ask your programmer, or if you're tech savvy, you could do it, and you'll need to actually take the snippet of code, paste it in each one of the pages on your website. So that way you can track every page on your website. So let's talk about some of the things that you can track and measure using Google Analytics. And again, this tool is completely free and you won't have to spend a dime on it. So the first thing you can track, obviously, is your web traffic stats. This is how many people are visiting your website on a daily basis. This way you can track, if your traffic is increasing, which you want it to. If it's falling, maybe you can figure out why. But this is a great tool to be able to view your daily traffic stats. Popular pages. What pages are on your website are people visiting? What are most popular? You're able to see those pages and then kind of get a good idea of the information that your prospects and buyers are looking for. If you have some pages that aren't as popular, maybe you want to consider adding some content, beefing them up a little bit so they start ranking a little bit higher in your Google Analytics. Keywords. You're able to see the actual keywords and keyword phrases that your buyers are searching for when they hit your website from Google. Now, there's a lot of gold in this report because you can find keywords that people are landing on your website for, but maybe you're not ranking all that high. So let's say you find a particular keyword that you're getting 5 to 10 hits on a month, but your website is maybe on page 2 or 3 for that keyword. Well, that's really important to know because that means that those people landing on your site have gone past the first page, maybe on to page 2 or 3 where your site is, and clicked on your site. So now what you can do is take those keywords, create content around those keywords, build some links to those pages to get that page higher in the search engine, and then you'll increase your traffic because that's a hot keyword. That's a keyword that people are digging to find information on. The next thing that you can measure is bounce rate. This is a really important metric because Google is really measuring how they want to rank sites based on on-site metrics. So your bounce rate means how often do people bounce off of your website when they land on it. So in other words, when someone lands on your website, do they click another link and go into your site and then to another page? Or do they come to your home page or your page within your site and click the back button on their browser or type in a new URL to find a different result? You want a lower bounce rate. You want your site to be conducive for people to click additional links on your site to go through your site. So you want a lower bounce rate, really important to measure. Time on site. Another metric that Google's measuring as far as ranking websites. How long do your buyers and prospects stay around on your site? Are they coming and leaving? Or are they hanging around and interacting with your site? So you want a higher time on site. Now, one of the things about this is, a lot of people don't know this, is that time on site is not measured until someone clicks another link on your page and visits another page. So it doesn't start counting if someone hits the page they land on and they don't click another link. So understand that. Page views. How many pages are people on your site going through? So are they looking at 1 page, 2 pages, 3 pages? Obviously, the more page views, the better, because you want people interacting with your site, because Google wants to show good sites that are interactive, that have a lot of good information. New visits. How many new people are you getting to your site versus returning people? This is important to know, that you're getting new people to your site, new business, always really important. And then finally, referring sites. So what sites are referring traffic to yours? Are you running a social media campaign like we talked about in the last video? Are people visiting your website from your Facebook page, from your Twitter account, from your YouTube account? All those things are really important to know where those folks are coming from. And finally, actually the last thing I wanted to talk about, and it's not on here, is I want to talk about setting goals. Google Analytics has a goal setting where you can actually set goals where you want people to either click on a link, visit a page, or register for your free report or e-newsletter. You can simply set that up in Google Analytics, and this way you can say, let's say 100 people come to your website and you want them to opt in for your free report or your e-newsletter. So out of those 100 people, how many people click and take your offer and you download that offer to them? That way you can get an idea of what your opt-in rate is. If you have a lower opt-in rate, that tells you might have to beef up your offer, try to figure out something different to give. So setting up goals is really important. It doesn't have to be opt-ins. Like I said, it could be clicking a link or visiting a certain site. So the second web tracking tool I want to talk about is Google Webmaster Tools. Again, another free tool by Google. You'll have to visit Google Webmaster Tools, register your account there, and register your website. And I wanted to talk about some of the reports that you can find on Google Webmaster Tools. This is a little bit different than Google Analytics, but still really important to make sure that your site is submitted to Google Webmaster Tools. One of the categories inside Google Webmaster Tools is called Your Site on the Web. This is really important for getting some important data. Things like your top search queries. Now this is super important because top search queries will actually show you what keywords your website ranks for and where they rank in Google. It'll also show how often does your website get displayed when someone types in that keyword, and then most importantly, how many times do people click through to your website. So in other words, it'll show, okay, you're on the first page for green widgets, and 50 times people typed in green widgets, and out of those 50 times, 3 people click through to your website. So you can get an idea of what your click-through rate is. So if you have a lower click-through rate, that means you're going to need to spruce your listing up in the search engine results pages, whether that means improving your title tag or your meta description that makes people want to click on your results. That way you get more people clicking through to your website. Again, another metric that Google can measure and say, okay, well, we've showed Joe Blow's website for green widgets 100 times, but only twice people click through to it. This isn't probably a site that people are liking. There's something about it, so we're going to bump it down and we're going to move some others up. So it's really important to pay attention to this metric. Another report that you can get inside Google Webmaster Tools is your inbound links. How many links are coming into your site from other sites? As you know, the more links you have coming into your site typically means higher rankings. The more links you have, the higher you're going to rank in the search engines. You'll also get internal links. This means how many links from one page on your website to another page on your site. Again, another very important metric. Not as important as your inbound links, but still important to pay attention to your internal links. And then there's another section in Google Webmaster Tools called Diagnostics. This kind of maintains the health and shows you how healthy your website is online. So you can find out if your website is infected with malware or viruses. It'll give you a little message and let you know that you're infected and how to clean it up. Sometimes if your site does get infected, Google will shut your site down and you'll need to resubmit it to Google after that malware is cleaned up. And inside Google Webmaster Tools, they tell you exactly how to do it. So that's why it's important to submit your site to Google Webmaster Tools. You'll also get crawl errors. This is when Google visits your site and they crawl and index the pages on your site. Are there any errors? Are they having problems reaching certain pages? So you'll want to know if there are any crawl errors on your website because you want all the pages of your website indexed in Google. Crawl stats. How often is Google coming to your site, crawling, indexing? That's important to know. Obviously, you want Google coming to your site more often. And then HTML suggestions. HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language. This is the code that's used to build websites. And Google will tell you if you have errors on your web page as far as your HTML, and they'll give you suggestions on how to use it. Finally, one other thing I wanted to mention, because it's kind of new and it's not here on the board, is the Google +1 analytics that Google Webmaster Tools is now showing. What this does is this will actually show you the difference in your organic search from people utilizing that Google +1 button. In other words, your social connections on Google+, how does that affect people visiting your site? Do more people visit your site because you're connected, or is it from outside of your connection? So it's a really good metric to determine how Google Plus and the Google +1 on your website is affecting people coming to your site. So something to pay attention to. So I hope you enjoyed this lesson on tracking and measuring. Again, if you'd like more information on any of these online marketing tips, you can grab a copy of my free report called The 7 Most Common and Costly Mistakes Business Owners Make When Taking Their Business from Offline to Online. And this is Bill Parliament saying, now go dominate Google.